Private company feeding us GMO foods, they wanting us trapped. My young boy just came home for a booting, that young nigga tapped. Can't be slipping when I'm puffing on a potent, silent but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree, you know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog, I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, had me nervous, I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus, I can't risk my seed.
Well, go on again, my fellow airsofters. So, another heavily awaited video, which is finally we managed to grab a Chrono after how long we've been talking about chronoing and stuff like that. I managed to pick myself up one, cut a nice little deal with my local suppliers, Kent Combat Store, and yeah, they managed to sort me out one, so I'm actually looking forward to doing. Ooh. Little technical difficulty there, guys. You guys know GoPros can be a nightmare. Getting them to attach into the things and staying right where they're meant to. I think I'm gonna have to edit, make some adjustments, but yeah, so let's get into it. First of all, I kind of wanted to talk about gun safety on this video, just because I feel like people just don't prioritize gun safety enough, and I feel like in recent time I've had quite a few friends who have had things happen to them just because they haven't been taking precautions. So first and foremost, I always say to people, ensure you do have some kind of eye protection. Please check that they are ballistic proof, or else you're essentially just gonna have broken glass shattered in your eyes. If you're under the age of, I think it's 12, you normally need some kind of face protection to protect your mouth, and you probably want to do that anyway, man. Protect those teeth. You only have a certain amount, and I'm sure you don't want to pay that hefty dentist bill trying to sort yourself out just because you weren't taking the right precautions. And then thirdly, I just wanted to talk about things like standard things that we can do as users just to keep ourselves safe. So for example, myself, I have kids. I'm also in an environment where there's other people who live close to or around my space. So because these people don't have UCARAs, I like to make sure that just in case somebody was to walk into my room by accident and see everything and be like, oh, that's cool, I want to pick something up, they wouldn't have any accessibility to use those things. So first off the top, I always talk to people about your gun boxes. Your gun boxes should you're probably like, oh, I thought this was a Chrono vid, but bear with me, guys, let me land. I will always talk about these kind of locks on your boxes. I would advise the ones that do tend to bend, probably talk about them specifically in other videos, because this one is just a basic one, 30mm lock, cheap thing from China, but my local gun store was selling them, so I basically just tend to use it to like secure it around the box, then lock it, because then in theory, even if you were to try and put like a clip through it to try and clip it, you'd have a lot of difficulty, I won't lie to you. And plus it's reinforced steel that's in there, so you'd kind of have problems doing that. Plus the time it would take, it'd give me a chance to get back in my room and stop you having accessibility to this gun. So, and I keep this one locked away because this is my most upgraded Glock. So yeah, so that's one thing. Keep your gun boxes locked. It's very important, very, very important. The only things I tend to leave unlocked these days is spring pistols, because they are genuinely toys. Whereas though we call gas blowbacks and AEGs toys, like they can be very, very lethal in the wrong hands of people. So I tend to only leave things like this out because they're cheap guns. You know what I'm saying? They're actually toys. Like you might hurt somebody briefly, but rub their arm a minute later and they're back to normal. So yeah, gun safety, lock your boxes, people, and keep your keys secure. That's another thing, keep your keys secure. Okay, boom. Then another one I wanted to show you, similar lock system, but I just wanted to show this because one of my boys said to me, he saw the way I had locked my Glock and he was like, nah, that's probably not healthy. You're probably like, that looks nuts around his gun, but my boy basically showed me, let me take out the mag and I'll show you quick. Basically I had one of these, but I had it for my barrel. So what was happening before, it was a lock system, and with the gun safety 101, so we already spoke about the case and having that secured properly. I would even put two of these on it if I'm traveling, just in case, because if this case gets into the wrong hand, somebody could try and crack it open themselves using a cutting tool. This GoPro is just moving around way too much for my liking today. But yeah, what I had it basically doing was running directly. I don't know if you can see because the lighting's a bit nuts, but directly through there, down, coming out of the chamber. Yeah. Now that worked well for a bit, but one of my boys basically messaged me the other day and was like, all you're doing is the spring that's sat here is going to be damaged where it's sat back. Your top slide is sat back for so long, like long periods of time. So he was like, over time you'll find that it won't work. Now I tested mine straight after, and just like that it worked perfectly fine. So I was like, maybe he's overthinking it, but because I thought there was some relevance to what he said, I thought, do you know what I will do is just wrap it around the trigger. So I don't know if you guys can see. I'll try and get this up and close and personal so you guys can see, but like, I don't know if you guys can see. What I've did is I've wrapped it around the trigger. Hopefully you guys can see. I know the lighting's a bit nuts today, but yeah, it's because I'm waiting for my new light to come. So I've basically wrapped it around the trigger but behind the trigger, and then I've wrapped it around the trigger but behind the trigger again. So 2 knots behind the trigger. I don't know if you can see them on this side. So 1 and then 2 on that side. Yeah, so there's 2, and what those 2, let me just move that one out the way quickly and show you. What those 2 do is basically act as a stopper to stop me having the ability to basically pull this back. So if you notice, no matter how much I pull, even though my gun is cockable, like I could literally, it's charged, it's ready to shoot, no matter how hard I squeeze, I can't actually pull that trigger. And it's because what's happening is these 2 notches that's behind the trigger, they're literally stopping the trigger from making it all the way back. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's literally stopping the trigger from making it all the way back. So that's one. And another thing I like about this system, so literally look, I'm squeezing as hard as I physically can and can't squeeze that trigger. So gun safety 101, and then you just wrap it around one more time around the front, because it's the same thing. If the person cannot get a firm grip to hold your gun, how can they shoot it? And the thing that I like about this setup is, if you notice, even if I put my hands around it, because this is in the way, can't really get my finger in there properly. And even if I spin it and force my finger around, it's like my finger still ends up in front of where I've cabled the wiring, so you can't actually squeeze the trigger. Even if I'm trying to squeeze from the bottom or the top, I have no luck. So gun safety 101, people, because these little things, even if my mag's in there, you know, look, and this is a loaded mag, like I'll even show you. Well, actually I'm not going to press it and waste my gas, but it's a loaded mag like that, and it's actually loaded. It's hard, I can't press it. Even then I still can't, nothing. So defo keep that in mind, people, because it's important when having your guns. And I only tend to keep the key in there just because I'm at home. If I was leaving the house, I would take that key out. But yeah, so back to the Chrono. Everybody has spoken about, well, not everybody, but most of my friends know how much of this is a big thing for us to have on the channel, because we've been talking about having a Chrono for the longest. We now finally have one. I managed to pick one up for about 70 quid. I done like a trade off for one of the guns in my stock and ended up grabbing some stuff from the shop. So this one, I'm not sure the company, it just looks like a standard Chinese, yeah, because it's made in China. It is made in China. There is no branding, so I'm not sure what is the company that makes this. I did notice that on the box there were a few little dodgy things that didn't really make sense. But for example, it says pass anti Z80.3 drop ball test. So I'm presuming it's over a certain radius. It's not within the like, not, pardon my French in it, but in the field of Chronos you have shit ones and then you have really good ones. I would say that this is probably at the base scale of the good ones. So yeah, obviously they've got different color selections and rare. tells you how to operate it, and it is pretty easy. It has like an on button, turn on, press power button for 3 seconds to turn off. The display will show FF60 for 3 seconds, then return to either main screen or B mode. You could press the switch to different modes to A or B. Now I'm not too sure about them different mode stuff, but I'll have to have a look, because I have used it once or twice just to test it. So initially in the box, and to be honest, let's talk about the box first and foremost, because I did see a few things that threw me a little bit. Yeah, so you know I'm a Jamaican, obviously it comes with a nice little squishy, and I paid 70 quid for this, so I have to point these things out, and you guys come for real opinions. So chronograph, that was alright. Box felt good. It's decent. I won't say this is the highest spec box, but it's a good quality box. And nobody really cares, because we're not gonna use the box, you get it, unless you're gonna, do you know what, I might use the box to carry my tools in, so maybe that's a good point. But the first thing that stood out to me was it says, we work hard to let you rest assured. Now, is it me, or is the spelling off here? It says WE, which is we, then the work is spelled with a P. And you guys can see I didn't scratch anything off or rub anything off. This is how it was printed. So it's a bit like, ooh, red flag alert. And just so you guys can see that I'm not capping, it is a P, rub. It's not R, it's a P. Now I'm gonna presume that's just a printing error, and we're gonna keep moving, because like I said, it was good so far. Then obviously it comes with a little manual. Luckily this manual is in English. It does have English pages, which I was quite pleased, because often these Chinese things don't tend to come with English manuals, which is a nightmare. It does come with a Chinese section if you do want, though, for you brothers that do speak that lingo. But yeah, which was decent. And one thing I will say, it's a good feel. It feels like quality. That's one thing I did find interesting. Like, half the time these booklets, you probably might think it's not a big thing, but for me it's a big thing. It's like, I have hands and skin where if I touch something and it's like, you know when it's that like glossed, it's like a glossed fabric, but it's paper, it's glossed paper, but it doesn't feel good. It's like as you rub it, it scratches and kind of makes you, you know when that thing makes your it like gets underneath your skin. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. This is the finish on this is really nice. Like as I rub my hands over it, it just slides smoothly. Well done, big well done to the company who made this, because trust me, like as a user, often that's why I don't open user manuals, because they don't feel good in the hand. That feeling, it just almost like irritates you, whereas this, I could use this all day long. Like it didn't really, yeah, like well done basically is the long and short. You might think it's a small thing, but when you grab it yourself, you'll see what I'm saying. It's like I'm a busy guy today, innit? There are people trying to contact me. Apologies guys, second time I'm having to pause this video. Okay, boom, we're gonna just keep it running. Phone is binging off today. So okay, boom, let's keep this moving. So yeah, so like I was saying before, it comes with a manual, chuck that to one side. Comes with a charging cable, old school charging cable, like I think they call this one micro USB. I think that's what it's called, but it's the old one. It's not the latest one, like the tiny one. It's the old school one, you know, the ones that was on the Blackberries. Don't know how well you can see that fitting, but hopefully you can see that fitting. But yeah, for some reason it just won't focus. Don't know why it's not focusing for me today. But yeah, so we're gonna shut that to one side. And to be honest, I will say it doesn't take very long to charge. Like the other day I used it straight out the box, it came with charge, and me and my boys used it. And then it died probably after, so I used it around my boys, then I took it home and chronoed 2 more of my guns, put it away, took it out the following day, chronoed 2 more of my guns, and then by the 3rd time I went to use it again, it had died. And keep in mind, in between all these chronos I'm talking about, I just had it on, I didn't keep switching it off, so I found that interesting because the battery life was pretty decent, plus the charge time wasn't bad at all. Like probably had it on charge for like 40 minutes, give or take. Maybe wrong, maybe an hour, but I believe it was about 30-40 minutes, maybe about 40 minutes. So just the chrono. First opinions on it, it does feel cheap built. I will say that it doesn't feel like the most expensive built thing, because outside is like a polymer type plastic, but at the same time it feels strong enough that it could drop a couple times and I wouldn't worry about it. So I will say for 70 quid, like I would have expected maybe like a metal outside frame, but even that is not, it doesn't feel, well maybe it is metal, feels like some kind of metal, but that's polymer plastic. Same with the outside rim there. Is that metal on the inside? Let me have a look. I think it is metal on the inside, yeah. So it looks like some kind of metal on the inside, some kind of metal here, and then the body itself is polymer, which ain't bad, to be real. Yeah, I'm saying, to be real. Then obviously it's cool, it says pro chronograph, which something didn't make sense to me about the booklet, because why does the booklet say this? So if you guys know that, help me understand. Is that like a fancy word for what the chronograph is? I was kind of like, why does the booklet say that? But yeah. So straight off the top, obviously it has 3 buttons. Anyone who reads the booklet will see that. Obviously it has your nozzle, that's where BBs are shot. You'll probably see some wear and tear in there, because like I said, me and my boy is hashtag Liam. You'll see where his BBs kept on hitting, cause that nigga can't aim. He can't aim down the barrel. He was trying to have sex with me Chrono the wrong way, shooting, hitting off the sides. But yeah, pardon me French, but you guys get what I'm saying. Thought I'd give you guys a little piece of banter. But yeah, like straight off the top, obviously there's the on button. You hold that for 3 seconds, like they said, that thing shows up and then you can see the screen. It does have, I don't know if you guys can see, 0.20 Gs. Then it has your joule meter at the top, then it has your FPS, and that's, it won't start with the FPS, it will have meters, ms, which is meters per second, or meters, is it meters per second or miles per second? One of them. But I've set mine to FPS just because I prefer that reading. That is normally how I have been taught to read, so I try to read the way I know. And then rounds per minute at the bottom for if you're auto cycling. This thing about A and B functioning, yeah, I did want to kind of look into, because that I don't know. Obviously if you click up, so these up and down buttons act like function buttons, and then obviously the power button is your enter button. Set memory, I won't even bother do that, because most of all these things I've already set. I don't think I will turn that back off. Auto on and off, I'll leave that. The unit per second, set memory.
Running rounds, running laps for the Lizzie for the stack. From band of boys without a plan, from band of boys without a plan. Wait, you do not know me, brother. So how can I owe you, brother? Wait. Don't fold my phone.
Do you know what's interesting? It actually does measure the weight of the BBs, because these are some of the memories from the other day, and these are actually the weights. 25, 2 zeros, 2 3, 25, 45, 50, 65, which is very interesting, because I think what I might do is set mine at somewhere, because I had it set at 2.0, but I'm thinking, what if I set it at standardly 2.5? Because I don't think there's no harm in that, to be real. And we'll exit out of there.
Touring the city, still holding it down. My Uber silent, he don't make a sound.
But yeah, obviously there's lots of different functionalities, like you can see as I've been clicking through. There's a reset function if you want to just start from scratch, reset all your figures, and then you just click up, which would allow you to navigate everything else. You click up again and then it sends you right back to the FPS screen. So it is quite self-explanatory. It does have a charging slot there, like I said, the old USB micro, I think it's called. And then it has a charging LED, which if it's green it tells you it's fully charged, if it's red it's currently in charging. It is the version 2 model, which I know my boy was like, oh, you did get a good bargain, because the original was 55 or 60 pound, so you bought the upgrade 70 quid. It's a good bargain. So I was like, alright, maybe I didn't get bumped. But and it was the more expensive of the two. There was another cheaper one as well in the shop still, so yeah. And to be honest, like, I haven't had any issues thus far with it. Like, so far, like I said, the charging quality's been good. It's very self-explanatory. Like you can see, I've changed my BB weight to 2.5s. It's gone back there. Today I bought out some as well. Let me just chuck this to one side. and we'll turn it off so it saves battery. But yeah, like I said, today what I've done is I've bought out some BBs from like a local supplier, Kent Combat Store. So if you know them, go check them out. They're actually a good little store, like currently my local store. And guys in there are so helpful, man, so helpful. Like, I can't say enough good stuff about them. Plus they've just opened a new store, so you probably do want to go and check that out. That is where I've been able to grab a lot of my new gear from. So if there's anything you've seen on the channel recently, it probably is from there. But yeah, like, without further ado, let's get into some chronoing, because I did want to just show you guys how it works. And what I did want to do was basically chrono my spring pistols, just so that we can kind of get a gist of what they chrono out as, if that makes sense, or at. Just because I feel like spring pistols, people don't really tend to talk FPS on them. And the other day we chronoed Connor's. So Connor's one of the guys from the batch. You've probably seen him on the YouTube videos. We chronoed his gun, yeah, and it was like it was only like a spring shotgun thing. But when I say to you, this thing chronoed, what did it chrono at? I think it was at 135 or something, and we were all looking at each other shocked, like, how the fuck did this little spring gun shoot that? And we've got guns that are like proper gas guns and they're just about hitting 120s. So I was like to him, like, you should keep that gun aside because that's a 30 little spring gun. So yeah, so because I've obviously set my chrono to 0.25s for today's testing, I'm gonna literally make sure I'm using 2.5s so we can get an accurate reading, and then yeah, we will go from there. I would go 2.0 because I feel like everybody, even when you buy it from the gun sites, they always do it at 2.0, but I just think let's try something different. Plus most of my pistols chamber in 0.25. That's what I use. So for me, it wouldn't be, how do you explain it, like, it wouldn't be
the ego tripping. Think different and let go of the ego tripping. Think different and let go of the ego tripping. Think different, think different. Working 6 to 2 to pay some ish that's overdue. Meditate on past actions, ish I had to do. Working 6 to 2 to pay some ish that's overdue. Meditate on past actions, ish I had to do. Private company feeding us GMO foods, they wanting us trapped. My young boy just came home for a booting, that young nigga tapped. Can't be slipping when I'm puffing on a potent, silent but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree, you know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog, I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, have me nervous, I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus, I can't risk my seed. My heart too low, took L's like fug. Big slime soon free, had to drop cause the fans they keep asking. You drop trash, had the fans all laughing. Disappeared and I brother grown, we conversate, I ain't preaching. Roll some loud, talk some life, hold his mouth when I'm speaking. I had trauma about my childhood plus how I grew. I had trauma about my exes plus things they do. Ayy, ayy, look what I did to shine, ayy, ayy.